Hey guys, thanks for checking out this video. Before you watch this video, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button down below and click the little bell. If you click the little bell, you get notifications. It'll let you know when I post other videos so you don't miss any content from me. Also, we have a Discord, we have an Instagram, we have a Twitter, so make sure you guys check all those out. Those will also be down in the description, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. Okay, so today I thought we could do something a little different than what I've done previously, and today I'm going to give you guys my top 5 Heroic Skylanders. The criteria for this is kind of flexible. It's a combination of I've seen them a lot of places. A lot of people are using them. Their utility, their damage, their flexibility, all kinds of stuff that sort of went into this. So the idea is to sort of give you guys an idea of good Skylanders to use to make the most of your resources and sort of give you places that they're used and stuff like that. This is in no particular order, so this is just me sort of throwing out what I've seen and why I think these heroic units are some of the best heroic units. So first, we're going to start off with a little bit of bias, and that's Stink Bomb. So the reason I'm choosing Stink Bomb for this is there's a couple reasons. One, he's fantastic in a poison team. As you know, I'm a huge fan of poison teams. He does a ton of damage. So we're looking at Skylanders when they're fully awakened and skilled up. So just keep that in mind. Some heroic Skylanders may not be as good until they're skilled up. Well, none of them are going to be as good, but some of them may be way less good than other Skylanders when they're not skilled up and awakened. So just keep that in mind as we go through this video. But let's take a look. So the first one is Stink Bomb here, and the reason is because his first ability does a ton of damage. So 65% attack 2 times, which is not a whole lot of damage compared to some, but it adds poison and diminish for 3 turns with 75% chance each attack, right? So a maximum of 2 poison and 2 diminish, which adds a ton of damage to this ability, especially, like I said, if you're running a poison team, if you're running Boom Bloom, she copies those damage. This is going to be absolutely massive. Okay, so his second ability, his main reason that I like him is his first ability, right? So his second ability is inflicts damage to an enemy, it does accuracy down, which is obviously good because that means that you're going to they're gonna have a chance of missing, right, and not doing as much damage, which is great. And then increases invasion rate up. So this is when he's awakened. I don't actually have him 6-star awakened because I didn't feel like the evasion rate up was incredibly useful, and I wanted to allocate my resources elsewhere. But at the same time, evasion rate up is pretty okay. So if you have the resources and you're really investing in Stink Bomb, go for it. There's no reason not to. So if an enemy avoids your attack, this is another great thing. So basically, if an enemy dodges or evades your attack, you add poison to them, 80% chance, and then you get stealth on yourself, which is also awesome. So that means that you can't be targeted by single hit attacks. So it makes him a little bit more, easier to survive, stuff like that. So another great passive for Stink Bomb, adding those poison effects, increasing the damage that he does even when he misses an attack. And then his last ability is a leader effect, so you get 10% heal down with 20% chance when you attack an enemy that has poison already. And then this extends to your entire team. So every time your teammate attacks, there's a 20% chance that they will apply heal down 10%, which is great on like Cyclops, where your team is attacking a lot and there's always poison usually if you're running a poison team. So that heal down is really going to add up because it does stack, and he's going to be doing a lot less from his vampire effect that he has on its attacks. So that's number 1. Number 2 is Smolder Dash. Now, Smolder Dash I see a lot in Arena, and for good reason. So, first of all, she does a ton of damage. Okay. Second of all, unrecoverable on first ability, which is massive, right? So this is completely unrecoverable. So you see heal down a lot, which means that they don't heal as much, but unrecoverable means you do not get any HP when you heal, which is huge and super annoying in Arena. So a really, really good strong unit just for that effect. She also has an explosion effect on her first ability, and her first ability does quite a bit of damage, which is also really good. She also has a charge ability, so it grants defense down. It does 163% damage. And then again, another chance to apply explosion. I'm sorry. It increases the damage, so it gets another 25% of attack when you have an explosion on the enemy. So if you're running sort of a bomb team or units that have bombs, or she can even do this off of her own ability, she's going to be doing a lot of damage. So that's 188% damage on this attack if the target has explosion, which is absolutely massive. It is a charge attack, so it takes an extra turn, but it's huge. Also, defense down is obviously always good because it means you're going to be doing more damage. And then okay, so this is another really good a passive ability that she has, and this is what makes her sort of annoying in arena, right? So when you're inflicted with damage that can cause you to defeat, it grants invincibility and attack up. So she's basically guaranteed to be lasting an extra 2 rounds after you kill her. So not only does she do a lot of damage and she causes unrecoverable, but when you kill her, she actually gets increase in damage and becomes unkillable for 2 turns. So huge unit for PvP. Also really great for securing those last couple of turns in Cyclops. And then increases the attack of fire element members by 20%. So again, pretty good if you're running a fire/bomb team. Spitfire Igniter is pretty good with her, I believe. So huge unit. A lot of these heroic units are better than some of the legendaries. So next we're going to be taking a look at a tank. So T-Rex is absolutely nuts. He has self heals. He has a defense up on himself. He also heals at the beginning. But let's take a look at his skills first. So inflicts 76% of attack as damage to all enemies. Grants provoke, obviously, so you're not nobody else is going to get attacked on your team. He has to be attacked. And then he also grants evasion rate down on enemies for 2 turns with 50% chance. So again, making your attackers hit more often, which is also really good. And provoke by itself is great for this ability. Inflicts 141% of attack as damage to an enemy. And additionally recovers 10% of your health. Grants HP regen for 2 turns. So he gets 30% of his health back of his attack, which means he heals himself for 10% of his max HP, and he gets a heal over time. So huge for himself. I have seen a couple people actually use him and Ambush to duo C6. So he just takes all the damage and constantly heals himself, and Ambush just shreds the waves in the boss. So I'm kind of nuts that is possible, but T-Rex sort of makes that possible with his self-sustain and his provoke. When the turn begins, recover HP of all allies by 25% of their own max HP and grant defense up. So every time you go to a new wave or at the beginning of an arena battle, you get 25% of your HP for all allies and defense up for 3 turns. And 15% defense up is pretty good. Some Skylanders only have like 10%, so 15% is not bad, especially since it's just a passive that just happens every time you go to a new sort of wave or whatever for different zones. One more thing I wanted to mention that I forgot to was that he has a constant provoke, meaning that if he's using his Thump Shockwave, which is his first ability, as often as it's up, he will always have provoke on himself. So that's one of the main things I look for when I look for in a tank, is that provoke is constantly up. Which is obviously what you really want in a tank, because it means they're going to be forced to attack you. And then, of course, he's got a leader skill, so increases your defense by 20%. Additionally, if your HP is below 30%, turn begins, get heal up. So another really good defense. So if you really need him to be a little bit more tanky, you just throw him as the leader, and then he gets heal up on himself if he's below 30%, which is great because he self-heals. So sort of an all-in-one tank here. Really strong unit. Definitely worth building for arena. Definitely worth building if you're running a 2-man team for Cyclops there. Okay, the next unit is Dive-clops. Now, I chose Dive-clops for a couple reasons. The main reason being his passive, but we'll get to that in just a second. So, Torpedo number 1 multi-shot, so inflicts 102 of attack as damage to the enemy and nearby enemies, and grants explosion effect for 3 turns, 65%. So, Has explosion, which is great. If you want to pair him with a Smolder Dash, that's good. It'll help increase her damage a little bit. Inflicts damage to attack all enemies and grants effect resist down, which is really good if you're running, like I said, a bomb team, because effect resist means that you're landing those bombs more often. And it grants a shield on all allies for 10% of their HP. Now, 10% is not a whole lot, but it adds up, right? So if you're using this every 3 turns and you have 10% HP, that could be the difference between life and death. So this is a really, really strong ability, even without that shield. And the reason that the main reason I chose Cyclops is because he's used a lot in Arena, and for that is because of this. So Underwater Sound Wave, so removes a buff effect ×2 with a 75% chance when you inflict damage on enemies. So you have this ability that hits all enemies, and then you have a passive that has a chance to strip. So it's possible that he strips 2 buffs every time he uses that ability on all enemies, which is really, really strong, especially for buff teams that really need those buffs to do damage. So that was the main reason I chose Cyclops, and then of course he's got a leader passive, increase your effect accuracy by 30% and accuracy by 25% in battle. Applies to water. So if you're running a water team, this is good, but probably wouldn't use him for the leader skill alone. But the strip is really, really strong. Probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest, strippers in the game, stripper of buffs. So. And then we have one more unit, and that is, if I can find him, Flarewolf. So the reason I chose Flarewolf is purely because of how much damage potential he has. So his scaling is massive, right? So and he also has a remove buff effect on one. So inflicts 152% of attack as damage to enemy. Remove the target's buff effect ×1 when you land accurately, and it always hits accurately. So you will always remove at least 1 buff with him when he attacks with this ability. So really strong for, like I said, Cyclops, where you want to strip those abilities. If you're going straight for the boss and you don't want to worry about the towers, you can strip his buff every time you attack with this, which is great. Number 2, so inflicts 15% of your HP as damage to yourself and inflicts 76% of attack damage to one enemy 3 times. So this hits like a truck. It also does a ton of endurance damage, which is great. It does use like 15% of your HP, but it's a small sacrifice to make for as much damage as it does. So I've seen him hit really, really hard. Another one grants provoke effect on an ally with the highest defense for 3 turns. If the enemy falls in the breakdown, knockdown, grant shield effect on yourself for 3 turns. So he does a lot of endurance damage here. He does 4 with the second ability, 2 with his first ability, and then has a chance to knock down. And then he will grant provoke on your highest defense, and then shield on himself for 25% of your HP. So just kind of a little bit of nice survivability here when you are knocking down opponents, which is good. And then this one is increases the max HP of team members by 10% in battle. And grants explosion whenever you attack enemies with 50% HP or below. So this is sort of like adding a little bit of damage once you get enemies below 50%, which is great. So really good, strong unit to use for really any element variation on your team. 10% HP extends to every element. So really, really strong there. And then, of course, the explosion effect, which adds extra damage here. So that's my list of top 5 heroic team Skylanders. Like I said, no particular order, just sort of what I've seen and how I feel about a lot of these Skylanders. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. What are your guys' top 5 heroic Skylanders? And I will catch you guys in the next video. Thanks.